might want to get something in right before you go to bed, something like a protein shake, some peanut butter, and a banana. My personal favorite is whole milk, banana, whey protein, coconut oil, and then I just mix it all up, and then I just slurp that back. That's kind of my favorite bedtime snack because it fuels me. What else do I have here? I've got some ideas for example meals, but I'll let you guys ask some questions, and I'll see if I can answer them if anyone has any questions.
How much coconut oil are you talking about? like 3 teaspoons?
So like in my little coffee thing, I usually do like 2 to 3 tablespoons. I think you have to blend it up because otherwise it's nasty.
Is it like gooey or something? It's so gross.
No, it's not.
It is. Actually, like coconut? What does it taste like? It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's like oil.
Sweet.
Oil. Sweet. It's sweet.
It's like a clear version of condensed milk, kind of.
There you go. Yeah.
It's not quite as sweet, but
Just put vanilla protein in there too, and some cinnamon, and you'll be like, hey, I'll be your best friend.
no,
You got a vascular thing.
You gotta mask it a little bit. I mean, it's
sensitive
tastes like
also.
milk.
Where do you get your coconut
You
oil?
can get like 18-ounce jar or something from Costco for $13, and it's organic, cold pressed, super high quality, and you can just eat it right. I mean, I don't eat it. I do a little bit, but you don't eat it right out. The other thing that's cool about coconut oil, is it has a fatty acid in it called lauric acid, L-A-U-R-I-C. Lauric acid is an acid that's present in mom's milk that helps infants grow, and helps their muscles grow, and helps them reduce inflammation and repair their bodies. So it's the same molecular structure as what's in mother's milk, except it's high in coconut milk, and it's also coconut oil, and also in grass-fed butter. Grass-fed butter like Kerry's Irish Gold, that sort of thing. So you can eat a lot of that too. I eat a lot of butter and coconut oil. All I eat is fat. What else? Any other questions?
How much gram of protein do you take after your workout?
How many grams of protein do I take? So again, it depends. You should at least have about 20 grams of protein after your workout. Sometimes if we're hitting like a really hard workout, like the boys and I or whatever, we might take 2 scoops instead of 1 scoop. But what you really want to pay attention to is the ratio of protein to carbohydrates. You want about 2 to 4 times as many carbohydrates as protein in your post-workout shake. So if you take 20 grams of protein, you want about 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrates to go with that. Okay? And again, if you're on a weight loss, that 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrates fits into that 100 or 120 for the day. Right? So we're trying to time our carbohydrates around that workout so that we optimize the utilization of carbohydrates to not store fat, but to repair muscle tissue and restore glycogen. Chad, I know you have some questions.
Just walked in, man.
Oh, okay.
Related to the eating carbs around your workout, what about on your rest days?
Oh yeah, so great question. So do I need to take rest days? I think everyone's been here like twice today or something. So on your rest day, you should reduce your carbohydrate intake a little bit, especially if you're on weight loss. Okay, so if you're trying to like lean up, you're trying to like look good on the beach, I'm gonna say go ahead and cut back your carbohydrates. So if you're on weight loss already and you're like on 100 to 150 grams per day, just cut it back a little bit. Okay, again, I want you to earn your carbs. So if you come in here and you're like, you walk around and you like sign a piece of paper, you didn't earn any carbs, right? But if you come in here and you do like front squats and you do a Metcon and then you hop on the rower to cool down, you've earned some carbs. So on your rest day, unless you did something outside the gym, you didn't really earn your carbs. So let's prune those carbs back. Now, if you're an endurance athlete or a power athlete, you're trying to get strong or you're trying to go long distances, your rest days are when you can again restore that glycogen. So prune it back a little bit, but you still want to get some sweet potatoes in there near the end of the day so that the next day after your rest day, you come in feeling good, you don't come in feeling sluggish. I think you've all had that feeling where you've taken a rest day, you've come in, you're like, I feel more tired after a rest day than I did after a workout day. And part of that is because we're not fueling our system the way we should on a rest day, right? Part of it is because we just get stiff because we're used to moving. But part of it is we have to continue to sort of think about our nutrition on our rest days. So bring your carbohydrates back a little bit, especially if you're on weight loss, but you don't have to cut it out completely. I would say play that by ear, right? So if you feel like you're not losing weight, let's take the carbs out of your rest day first, see if that helps, and if it doesn't, then we can sort something out after that. But that's the easiest place to kind of cut your carbohydrates down. Your body doesn't actually need to eat carbohydrates, right? So we can survive just fine on protein and fat. Carbohydrates are a luxury, and so our body can produce carbohydrates through gluconeogenesis, which is whatever, our liver does some stuff, right? So we eat protein and fat, we can make our own carbohydrates. We don't need to actually eat them. So they're a luxury. And that's why they get stored as fat if we eat them at bad times. So rest days when you're sitting, I don't know what you do for a living, but I'm kind of a desk jockey. Okay, so you're not burning calories like this, right? And so let's not load the body up with carbohydrates so that we can store it as fat, because then we're working harder to burn that fat when we come into the gym. Great question. Rest day nutrition. Other than that, rest day nutrition should be basically the same. High protein, high good fat, right? So by good fat, I'm talking about coconut oil, olive oil, grass-fed butter, those sorts of things. Try and stay away from vegetable oils because they're inflammatory. Try and stay away from, if you buy steak at the store, don't eat the fat unless it's grass-fed. If it's grass-fed beef, then eat the fat because it's loaded with lauric acid and omega-3s. I mean, that's gross, but you could do it. But try to keep good fats in our system. Almonds, walnuts, those kinds of things. Again, almonds, walnuts, high in carbohydrates. You this isn't like free reign just to chug back the almond. A handful here and there to stave off some hunger, give you a little energy is fine, but too much can be too much. So use caution there. And the take-home message, Sandra, obviously your question wasn't, the take-home message is we really want you to start eating cleaner, right? So think about things like if you go to the burger shop, some of the things that you can do is order sweet potato fries instead of white fries. So sweet potato fries is still not an optimal choice, but because they're sweet potatoes, they're higher in certain starches that refuel our glycogen relative to white potatoes, which simply spike insulin. You get a hamburger, if you're really hungry, get a double burger, hold the bun, right? So now we're getting our carbohydrates from a good source like sweet potato fries. We're getting our protein from hamburger at a hamburger shop. I would say maybe I can't knock Cheeseburger Bobby. So don't do McDonald's. Cheeseburger Bobby's is okay. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a thumbs up. So get a double cheeseburger Bobby with cheese and bacon on it. Hold the bun, right? Who needs a bun? Just use the what?
That's why it works.
Right? I mean, play it smart. I wouldn't eat steak and shake 6 nights a week. Okay? But just doing things like holding the bun or holding the pasta. I gave some recipes on the Facebook page about how to replace pastas and rice. If you haven't heard of spaghetti squash, it's a high starchy squash that doesn't really taste like spaghetti. But if you flavor it right, it tastes nice. So the recipe's up there. I'll repost it if you want. And one of the things you can do if you're not willing to give up pasta because you're a carboholic, then make a spaghetti squash and just do half pasta, half spaghetti squash. Half the battle by just cutting it in half, right? It fills you up, you eat lean protein with it, and you're sort of on your path to a little bit better nutrition plan that way.
What about yellow or brown rice?
So we don't want to eat brown rice so much because it can be high in inflammatory proteins. So whole things like brown rice have the shell on them, okay? And so when they have the hull on them, the hulls are where there's lots of proteins that cause inflammation in us. They're called lectins. So what happens in white rice is we strip the hull and we bleach it of all that stuff, and then we enrich it with protein. So actually, white bread and white rice would be better to restore your glycogen, unless you're trying to get a high fiber diet. If you're trying to get high fiber and you don't have any reactions to the proteins in brown rice or whole wheat bread, go for it. But I would say if you're trying to lose weight, I'd eliminate rice. Rice altogether. Again, if you're in a jam, you don't have any sweet potatoes, or you've eaten sweet potatoes 7 days a week, and you somehow got sick. Okay, how about a parsnip or rutabaga or any kind of root tuber, a cassava root. Have you ever had cassava chips? I'll post a recipe.
Cassava?
So cassava is I think it's called cassava and then yucca.
Yeah.
Yucca. So yucca is really good. It's like this, it looks like a turd. Okay. So like, I mean, like if you see it, you'll be like, am I buying? It looks like so. And then you cut it into chips and pan fry, and seriously, it's good. My son eats it. He's too.
And olive oil.
You cook it. Yeah, I mean, I cook mine in coconut oil, right? Because that's all I eat. But yeah, you can do olive oil.
They sell all that at farmers, or like Gwinnett International Farmers.
You can buy yucca root
I can
at
see it.
Kroger
Really?
around
Yeah,
my
Publix,
house.
there. There's big brown kind of.
My parents eat
Yeah, it's good, and it's high starchy. And then of course, eat a white potato,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and eat a white potato or roast some potatoes. That's sort of it almost tastes like potato. So you can boil it and smash it up. Put some like butter and like seasoning in there, garlic, and you've got kind of like a garlic mash, almost not potato type of thing. It's not bad. It's good. I think it's tasty.
I don't know.
There's something about the texture of the fruit. I can't get past it.
Any other questions before we John gives us some info on some Advocare? Yes.
Your carbs, you concentrating on potatoes, rice, pasta. Are there fruits and veggies that are carbs too? And is that
There are.
included in as part of the carbs?
Yeah, it is. But so let's eliminate like pastas and rices, right? Let's say we use roots and tubers, so fava, parsnips, carrots, rutabaga, sweet potatoes, white potatoes, those things. Keep it in the whole food realm. Vegetables have carbohydrates, but almost none, right? So if you say buy a bag of frozen spinach, you could eat the whole bag, and I think you get 12 carbohydrates, right? Now, I don't know who could sit down and eat a whole bag of frozen spinach. You know what I mean? Like that's like a test of willpower, okay? So I'm not worried about if you eat too much broccoli or eat too much spinach or eat too much whole vegetable. Fruits I worry about. Fruits I worry about for two reasons. One is because many people consider dried fruit a fruit. Okay, so dried fruit is like a candy. If we look at the glucose content of dried fruit like raisins, dried pineapples, dried apple, whatever, you might as well eat a Snickers bar. It's the same sugar content. So let's eliminate dried fruit unless it's post-workout, okay? Whole fruit, I like to say limit it to, if you're really like into fruit and you can't give it up, I say one piece of fruit per day. And that's just for me because I want to be like a little bit leaner, okay? But realistically, if you could get all of your nutrients from vegetables instead of fruits, that would be better for weight loss. So the thing about fruit is it's high in fructose, right, which is a fruit sugar, and fructose can spike insulin. So unless you take it post-workout, we're going to get that same effect where we spike insulin, store energy as fat, instead of storing it as recovery tissue. And so I'm okay with fruit, but in moderation. Best fruits would be like strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, anything in the berry realm. Apples aren't so bad. Bananas would be great post-workout. Grapes are super high insulinemic. Cherries are really good. So, what?
Watermelon.
Oh, watermelon's off the charts, insulinemic. So it's all sugar. Other melons like honeydew is a little bit better. Cantaloupe's a little bit better. So, I mean, like you don't want to give those things up, but let's just try to earn them, right? So on one of those crazy Saturday wads that Caleb makes up, go eat a slice of watermelon or two after that, right? Like that's legit right there. And it's refreshing because it's mostly water, right? Now, like fruits are good for you because they're high in antioxidants. So are vegetables, right? So like if I had it in an ideal world, if you were to make a choice between like, well, I'm going to have this bowl of fruit, or I'm going to have this bowl of vegetables, I'd always say go for the bowl of vegetables. Your taste buds would always say go for the fruit, right? So think about flavoring that vegetable in a way that's good. So throw some butter on there, throw some salt and pepper, low on the salt, throw some seasoning, garlic, whatever you like on there. Try and like I don't know, like glam it up or whatever you do with your vegetables so it tastes better. And don't go off of fruit altogether so that you can't, like you feel like you can't have fruit. I'm not saying you can't have fruit. I'm just saying it's high in sugar and we want to limit that. Especially if you're on weight loss. I just blew up Calvin's world. Are there any other questions? And so Caleb's got my email. I'm all over the Facebook page. If you have specific questions like, hey, I have this certain problem with I can't kick this habit or what have you, just drop me a message. I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. And if you